Welcome to Heavy Talk. I'm your girl, Heavie Sharnice, aka Heavie, and I am back with another episode of Heavy Talk, here to serve up some more straight talk with no chaser. Let's get right into today's episode with your weekly motivation, your word of the day of the episode. Today's word is savor. Savor every moment. Take a moment to realize how far you've come. You could be living in the times that you prayed for or dreamt of. Don't let the moment pass you by without savoring and basking in it. Let that soak in. Let that soak in. That's the word of the day. Make sure that you follow at HeavieTalk on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook for daily words, and also follow me at Heavie Sharnice. Let's get right into the episode, get into our topics. As we know, unfortunately, every episode here, we're just talking about things that are going on with the environment because, like I said, there's something really that's going on. I do believe that global warming, climate change, all of that is real. And I think that we're currently seeing all of the impacts of it just anywhere that you look. Not just in the US and other countries, we're seeing just the impact of global warming, from wildfires to really bad earthquakes to just all different stuff that's going on in space. We got asteroids and stuff that's just falling from space, being found in people's backyards. It's clearly something that's going on, and we need to keep our eyes on it. And that's why a couple episodes ago, I gave you just some tips, things that we can do as the people to make sure that we're doing our part. Because it's past having a world for our nieces and nephews to live in. At this point, we're just trying to ensure that we have a world to live in because it's not looking so good. So let's start with our climate change, environmental topics, talking about the Hawaii wildfires. I want to give an update on that. We talked about the Hawaii wildfires a couple episodes ago. I gave like a whole breakdown on how the whole execution, the planning, what happened during and after, there was just a lack thereof. We talked about, I believe it's called the emergency director. Can't think of his exact title, and how he didn't really have a lot of experience for the job. That was shown after he didn't sound the alarms, which would have alerted residents and tourists of what was going on. A lot of the residents and tourists said they found out about the wildfires from just seeing the smoke that was all in the air. They weren't notified prior to that. Also talked about how the city of Maui, I believe, was filing a lawsuit against the power company, saying that they have fault because the power, I believe, was not shut off during those wildfires. If the power was shut off, it could have lessened some of the damage and caused not as many lives to be lost. So we talked about that. Just want to give a brief update just on where things currently stand. According to officials in Maui, at least 400 people, the exact number is 388 people, remain still missing as a result of the Maui wildfires. That's quite a bit of people. That's absolutely devastating and sad. And the current death toll has risen to 115 people. But I wanted to give a brief update on that, kind of tying into the wildfires. There's been a lot of reports about just how hot this summer has been. I know where I am at, it's been very, very hot. In other cities, they've been like in the 110s for like record days. I want to talk about that on the next episode. One city has been at least at 110 degrees for 52 days straight. That's absolutely maddening. Like, a lot of places has been experiencing heat waves. So I talked about in a previous episode that July was the hottest summer ever on Earth. Not the hottest summer, the hottest month ever. The month of July was the hottest month ever. Like, can you believe that? Since like the whole world has been known to man, we haven't had a hotter month until this July of 2023. Wow. And some people still try to say that climate change is not real. It's beyond me. So adding on to that, new reports from the UN Weather Agency say that Earth has endured the hottest Northern Hemisphere summer on record. If we didn't already know this already, it's being proven that it is hot AF. All around the world, it is extremely hot. Keeping with the heat, A new study has found that plants in tropical forests have stopped photosynthesis because of global warming. It is now becoming so hot that the plants aren't even doing photosynthesis. And we know that is key to the whole ecosystem. There's a whole process, and photosynthesis is the key part of that process. This is what the article that I read said from ABC News. Climate change has caused the leaves on some plants in tropical forests to stop undergoing photosynthesis. According to researchers, tropical forests may be approaching the maximum temperature threshold for photosynthesis to work. WTF. More environmental news, which with all that I've just talked about, all the things that are going on with the environment, we're seeing it almost in every aspect of the world in all different kinds of forms. When I saw this, I said, you got to be kidding me. Ain't no way. If you just open your eyes, you can clearly see what's going on. So I don't see how anybody would even okay this, or any country even think that this is okay. This should be a thing that had me like WTF, because honestly, WTF. Headline of the article, this article is from Financial Times, is that Japan is now releasing radioactive materials from a nuclear plant into the ocean. You can only imagine all of the radioactive materials and waste that are associated with a nuclear plant. So why would anyone in their right mind think that the best place for it to go is into the ocean, where fish and maybe water comes from there, and just like the animal life, and then we turn around and go and eat those animals that come out of the ocean? Like, just the whole train of thought, I'm not understanding. This is exactly what the article said. Japan has started to release treated and diluted radioactive from a nuclear plant into the Pacific Ocean. This process is expected to take decades. Not only is it just going to be a one-off, over the course of years, they're going to be releasing radioactive water into the Pacific Ocean. Now, maybe they're trying to help by diluting the water. So I don't know the terms, so it cannot be as strong, but it's still from a nuclear plant. So it has to be in some way hazardous. That's why they're trying to, I guess they're trying to say the only place that they can really do it where it won't cause harm, direct harm, is the ocean, but it's still going to cause harm. The whole reason why this is happening, the whole reason why this nuclear plant, or why they're trying to get rid of it or get rid of all of the waste from it, is because 12 years ago, there was an earthquake and a tsunami that triggered a meltdown of nuclear reactors at the plant. So with that being said, once that earthquake and that tsunami was caused, I guess stuff started malfunctioning with the nuclear plant. So I guess the people in Japan had to try to find a way to get rid of all of just the radioactive stuff. So their bright idea was to put it in the ocean. I'm not the only one that see a problem with this. China has spoken out about this, and I believe the people in some of the people in Japan have spoken out and said that this is like a terrible idea. At this point, I'm about to become an environmentalist protester. Y'all got mad at the people that was protesting during, I believe it was the US Open, but all they were saying, I don't see how we couldn't be protesting. I mean, honestly, we're just gonna watch it happen. I said stuff is going on land, in the ocean, and we have stuff that's going in the sky with the space. According to NASA, between September 6th and September 12th, 5 asteroids are set to pass by Earth. Could be like, okay, maybe asteroids go past all the time. What's the big deal? This isn't anything new. But first of all, it is 5 of them. That's for one. And then when NASA started getting into just the size of them, this is where it caught my mind. One of them is the size of a house. They didn't specify what kind of house, but a house, any house, if we're speaking like on a general level, is pretty big. 3 of the 5 are the size of a plane. Now we know how big planes are. And 1 of them is the size of a bus. Again, should have been a WTF topic because WTF is going on here. So they're just going to pass by and just nothing's going to happen. And for what I read, they said NASA doesn't think that anything is going to happen. They believe that the pass by is going to be usual, but they're not absolutely certain. As I've said on previous episodes, it's gonna become like a run-on at this point. Please carpool if you can. Please, please, please recycle. I know that the paper straws and stuff is gross, but use your paper straws. Please stop littering. Like, let's just do all of our parts to take care of the environment while we can. And if you need other ways to try to do your part environmentally, head to Google and just figure out some different ways where we can try to minimize all of the impact that we're having on the environment. Let's get into some entertainment news, reality TV rather news. I usually stay away from topics like this, like real drama, reality TV topics. That's not really what this podcast is for. But something came up in the news that's been trending all over social media, and I said, this really falls in line with what Heavy Talk is, and I can't just not talk about this. So I'm referring to the ordeal, all that's happening with Love and Hip Hop, Erica Mena, and Spice. At this point, you probably know about it, but for those that don't, I'll give you a quick summarization. So Erica Mena is a reality TV star on the show Love and Hip Hop. They have different franchises. I believe there's one in Miami, there's one in Hollywood, and there's one in Atlanta. So Erica Mena is a star on there. I'm not sure of her exact nationality or ethnicity, but I do not believe that she is African American. That is worth noting. There's also another star on the show by the name of Spice. On an episode of the show, which I don't watch the show, but the clip was gone all over social media. So I was able to watch the clip. The clip was like 10 minutes long, so it gave me enough context that I needed as to what exactly took place. So Erica Mena and Spice on the show were having a sit down. Again, they're both reality TV stars that are on this show, Love and Hip Hop. They were having a sit down. Conversation wasn't exactly going in the best way. Spice made during their exchange that was starting to get a bit tense and heated. Spice, and I guess when talking about just maybe Erica's character and just what she needs to focus on, she made just a mention of Erica's older son, which if you watch the show and you just know about Erica, you don't really see her older son. So that can leave a lot to interpret from there as to maybe, is there something going on? Is there a bit of static there? Like, what could be the exact problem? So that is essentially what Spice was alluded to when she made the comment that she made. After Spice made the comment, Erica just honestly just like flipped out. She like flipped her lid. I think she actually flipped the table. It started to get a bit heated and physical. They were trying to get physical. And during this time, when stuff was just very, very heated, Erica proceeded to call Spice a monkey. She called her a blue monkey. And if that wasn't bad enough, Erica proceeded to make monkey noises. After this happened, after the episode was aired, of course, social media was not having it. Erica got a lot of backlash. People was like, this is not okay. That's real racy. It's a lot of racial, like, undertones. She should be fired, like, in this day and age. That should not be okay. Like, why would she feel comfortable, let alone calling the like the lady a monkey and then going so far as to make monkey noises, like that's just not okay, and she should not be employed by VH1. So after all of the backlash, a lot of people were speaking out about this. VH1 put out a statement, and I'll just read a couple parts of the statement, not the full one, the parts that I found to be interesting. The statement read, "The Love and Hip Hop franchise has never shied away from hard conversations in our community." Another part I want to read, effective immediately, she will not appear in the next episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. The key parts that I want to talk about is that in VH1's statement, they did not specify, they kind of left it vague, and I think that that was intentional. A lot of stuff be intentional, especially when you get into, legality and maybe what Erica's contract could be, or maybe what they promised her. I think that that was all very intentional, where they made a note to say she would not appear in the next season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, which, as I said before, there are a lot of different franchise of Love and Hip Hop. So to me, it kind of leaves the door open for her to appear on another franchise at a different time. Maybe not next season, maybe like in a couple years. That could be interpreted because their statement was like so vague. That's a problem. If this is a stance that y'all are going to take, and saying that y'all never shy away from hard conversations, and if y'all don't stand with the comments that she made, at no point should she be employed with y'all if this is a stance that y'all are taking. Another problem that I have with it is they didn't put out this statement saying that she was basically fired right away. It was a couple of days after there was quite a bit of backlash and people had quite a bit to say. After a while, they put out this statement. With production, y'all know that she has said this when it was first aired, when the people went to go edit it, when it was post-edit, like post-production. Y'all knew then that these are the comments that she made. So maybe for one, why was this episode ever aired in the first place? For two, it seemed as soon as y'all knew that this is what she said during or after filming, why was she not fired then? Like, why did it take publicly for people to like speak out, or for there to be backlash for y'all to put out this statement for y'all to fire her? To me, that goes to the point of like, maybe y'all don't really stand on like, what y'all statement said. Is if it took for there to be public backlash for y'all to do something, for y'all to fire her, and for y'all to put out a statement. Y'all been knew that this happened. Why did it take so long? Not getting it. Three, I'm not feeling all of the people that were trying to cape for Erica Mena. I'm not feeling it at all whatsoever. A lot of people's stance was, well, Spice talked about her child, and children should, always be off limit. And, once you bring up somebody's child, all bets are off. I'm not rocking with that. I can rock with the kids are off limits. I can absolutely get that. And I'm never with the when they go low, you go high. You go low, I'm going like straight to hell, honestly. But my problem is how you going straight to hell is bringing up or saying racial slurs. That's your first defense. That's the first thing that comes to your mind, is to throw out racial slurs. I think that says a lot about you and what your true feelings are. If the first thing that you say is you calling somebody a monkey, or you're making monkey sounds, and I'm side-eyeing anybody who's siding with her on that. I'm looking at you completely side-eyed, especially as a Black person. Like, what is up with that? And it's wild coming from Erica, seeing as how she was at one point married to a Black man. She's dated quite a few Black men, popular Black men, Bow Wow, to name one. And you have children with a Black man. I could not imagine kids growing up to see that their mother was out here calling somebody a monkey. Like that's beyond me. That's completely beyond me. Shame on VH1 for even letting that air in the first place and taking so long to fire her. And shame on Erica forever making those comments. That's wild. And we might have to do an update on the next episode because she's been, if you want to use like the word fired from another show that she was on. They didn't say that she was exactly fired. They said that she was not going to appear on any upcoming seasons of this other show that she has. So we might have to do an update on that. Let's get into sports. We're kind of tying in to Erica Mena, Spice, just racial undertones. It all really ties in together. Let's talk about Deion Sanders. A lot of commentary during and after that Deion Sanders game was like, it was a lot of undertones. There was a lot of dog whistling. It was a lot. If you're not familiar, Deion Sanders is a former NFL player. He went on to become a coach at Jackson State. Jackson State is an HBCU. Shortly after he was a coach at JSU, he left to become a coach at Colorado. Speaking for me, no problem I had with the fact that he decided to leave Jackson State and go to coach somewhere else, because who really expected him, not I, to stay a coach there forever? I don't think that that's really being realistic. People change jobs all the time. Like, that's just a part of life. So no problem I had, speaking for me, is with the fact that he chose to left Jackson State. The problem that I had from social media, just gathering the general consensus, the problem with that whole ordeal was the way in which Deion went about it, and some of the comments that not only he made, but his children made in regards to the HBCU culture, the HBCU environment, and the comments that his daughter made, just talking about Jackson State and how it was just generally not safe. She exaggerated a lot and talking about how people got killed like every single day. Like, she was just wilding. So after she put out her statement, I believe it was on a podcast, she had to come out and apologize. But then she kind of like took her apology back and was saying that like she maybe have like exaggerated on the number, but it did happen quite a bit, and a lot was like covered up by Jackson State. Go look up exactly what she said. It was a lot. So overall, that is what people's and my problem was with the whole Deion Sanders and Jackson State thing. Like, you can absolutely leave, but when you leave, you don't have to talk down on HBCUs or on Jackson State. Like, that's really not even necessary, because Jackson State gave you an opportunity when maybe another school didn't. So to like bite the hand that like fed you, that's a little bit wild. And I never understand Black people that disrespect or belittle HBCUs. Like, I think that they're a bit confused. Maybe they should do their research on HBCUs and just like everything that comes with it, and why, if you do have an opinion on why HBCUs are the way that they are, maybe do your research and figure out why that is the case. One main reason is us being underfunded, never getting the resources that were rightfully ours. But anywho, so Deion Sanders went on to become a coach at Colorado. The first game, like depending on when you're hearing this, it was last week. Colorado's record before Jackson State, before Deion Sanders became the coach, was 1-11. That's pretty bad. Only won one game for the whole season. So coming into this season, people was like, I don't know, Colorado has really had like a really bad record. So we were really interested in seeing how this is going to turn out, especially with Deion Sanders being the coach. And in Colorado's first game back, they faced TSU, who was in the national championship the year prior. So just looking at the game prior to it starting, you would think that with Colorado's record last season of being 1-11, and with TSU being in the championship last season, win or lose, you would think that it's gonna be a dub, that like it's no way that Colorado is gonna like win this game. No way. That's what you would think. Nope, Deion Sanders had other things to say. His team, in addition to with his sons, Travis Hunter went out there and absolutely balled out, which leads to a lot of the comments that people were saying, not only about Deion Sanders and his ability to coach at whatever they call this level, which he was already a college coach. They were also a lot of the comments about Shadeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and just their talents, as if also like Deion Sanders, as if they weren't playing college football somewhere else. Like this is their first time just playing or being in this type of environment. Like it was beyond me. One comment in particular was from Ryan Clark. This is a tweet he made. I was like floored. I was absolutely floored. His tweet read, "What an introduction to the college football world at Shadeur Sanders. You are who your father said you were. Love it. Shine on, young brother." WT in the F. It was the first line for me. What an introduction to the college football world. Is this Shadeur's first? I must be missed something. Is this Shadeur's first time ever playing college football? No, it's not. Shadeur Sanders was a QB at Jackson State, and he was balling out at Jackson State. So what do you mean that, like, what do you mean, welcome, what an introduction to college, to the college football world? Like, what does that even mean? That goes in line with the other comments that were made, just overall disrespecting HBCUs, our academics, and our athletes. Acting as if just because Shadeur and Travis Hunter were at an HBCU and played like whatever conference that was that they were in, that means that they weren't really facing high caliber competition, or that everything that they did while at Jackson State is just dismissed because it's an HBCU. Not getting it. It is especially baffling, like I said, those comments coming from Ryan Clark, a Black man. Like, I think a lot of people showed who they truly are with the comments that they were making about Deion Sanders, Jackson State, and like Shadeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Y'all showed yourself, and you didn't show yourselves well. Now, as always, let's get into our first take. At this point, it's like a first take undisputed segment, episode by episode here, where we have an update on either Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless and their respective shows. So Shannon Sharpe has officially made his debut on First Take. And now we won't do a full breakdown on the show and all of that, but the part that I do want to talk about is what was funny to me is in Shannon's first day on the show, his first show, he calls Stephen A. Skip. He calls Stephen A. Smith Skip multiple times, not just one. He did it at least twice. Clearly, he's used to working with Skip, where he's calling Stephen A. Smith, who looks nothing like him, Skip. That was comical. So comical, especially for Stephen A. Smith. He clearly got a joke out of it that on the next show, Stephen A. Smith wore a nickname. Like, my name is like Stephen. My name is not Skip, just in case you need a hint or like a reminder. Here's a name tag that, refer to my name tag if you ever forget. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Now let's get into NFL, my favorite sport. NFL Sundays are back. We're coming with it. I am absolutely excited. Let me know who y'all teams are, because or who your team is rather. Maybe I said teams because I have teams. was a Packers fan pretty much all my life. So when Aaron Rodgers left the Packers, it kind of just broke my heart. Because, like, what are you forcing me to do? Because I'm absolutely a diehard Aaron Rodgers fan. So just like Derrick Rose, I've said, wherever Derrick Rose go, you can just consider me a fan. I'm getting me a jersey, all of that. So wherever Aaron Rodgers goes, the same case. So now I'm a Jets fan and I'm a Packers fan. Call it what you want, but that's just what it is. So let me know what y'all teams are. And if y'all are doing fantasy football, I should have did it, but I always wait into the last minute. And it never just works out for me. And talking about my Packers, though, I have some history that I want to talk about. History is being made at the Packers, with the Packers, and with their new quarterback, Jordan Love. Now, I'm not sure why there isn't much that's being said about this. Like, this should be a story, especially with the Packers, with the media people in Wisconsin. Like, there should be more that's being said about this, and there's really not, and I'm really not liking it. But the fact is, Jordan Love, when he starts for the Packers, their first game, Jordan Love will be the first Black quarterback to open a season for the Green Bay Packers. Love to see it. Big ups to Jordan Love. Hope that you have a great game. I will be rooting you on, as I also root on my Jets. More Black greatness, just doing the darn thing. We have to give some more love to Coco Gauff. Coco is now like making history. Coco Gauff just became the youngest American to reach the U.S. Open finals since Serena Williams, who she said is her idol. Serena did this in 1999. So now in 2023, Coco is just now breaking her record or achieving history, doing what Serena Williams did. Shout out again to Coco and continue to put Black girl magic on display. Now let's get into all the things that had me like WTF, because the streets have definitely been a raging as they always are. Let's start with the viral video that's been all everywhere. Like, wow, about the Maryland police officer. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Maryland police officer was caught. That's why we live in this phone, social media age. Everybody pull out their phone. You never know when you're being videotaped. So just always just be alert, especially if you're doing some fishy activity or if you're up to no good. Maryland police officer was seen in a viral video. He looked like he was bending down to kiss somebody. And after it looked like the police officer was kissing somebody, they proceeded to go in the back seat of a police cruiser. And the door was closed. In the video I seen, they didn't just go back there with the doors open and just chat. You can be left to your imagination, because the police officer went in the back seat with the individual and closed the door. What are y'all doing in the back seat? I'm sure it was not official police business. I'm sure of it. I would bet money on it. After this video went viral, the police department announced that it was launching an investigation. Now it looked like this man could possibly lose his job, because what were you doing, sir? What were you up to? And if you was doing what we all think you was doing, was it that much of a need where you couldn't wait until you got off? Like, seriously, you have to do it right then and there? We're gonna have to do an update on this topic, because from what I've seen, it looks like the police officer's wife has spoken out. So we might have to do an update and like double back on that. But WTF, sir. The one thing that Texas is doing right, we have to give them credit for this. Texas House Bill 393 went into effect. And this bill will require convicted drunk drivers to pay child support if they kill a child's parent or guardian. The law says offenders will be expected to make those payments until the child is 18 or until they graduate from high school. Clap it up for that, and shame on anybody who drunk drives. There are too many different ride-sharing apps and platforms out here to be out here drunk driving. The one thing that Texas is doing right, kudos to them. Here's another update, or here's an update on a past WTF moment. You know, I really be trying to leave Antonio Brown alone because it seems like he has a lot that's going on with him. So, like, why even kick someone, you know, when they're down? It's better to just kind of give them grace. But this was like what we talked about Antonio Brown on the previous episode during a WTF segment because reports came out he had a National Arena League team, and reports came out that his team, which is the Albany Empire, was kicked out of this league because Antonio Brown or the team was missing payments. It wasn't just one payment, they missed quite a few payments, so they were kicked out of the league. New reports are coming out that Antonio Brown allegedly threatened players on his team with a gun. Sir, I mean, honestly, seriously, WTF. I am Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is me. Derrick Rose went to the Drake concert and was playing chess on his phone the entire time. I seen the video. He was as comfortable as he could be, laid back in his chair, just like playing chess. Like, why even go to the concert? And why even stay if you're not even that interested, if you're playing chess? I mean, that made me cackle. That made me cackle. WTF, Derrick Rose, WTF. New York police made an announcement right before Labor Day that they were going to be using drones to monitor backyard parties. That has to be some type of illegal. It just gotta be like a safety, like a privacy thing. You're gonna spy on people using drones because that's essentially what you're doing. Ain't no monitor, ain't no like for the safety of like other, like we're not buying that. You're using drones to spy on people to say that you're trying to monitor backyard parties. Okay. If you say so. Let's get into what's been going on with these airlines, with these flights. Another viral story. A flight from Atlanta to Barcelona was forced to turn around after a passenger had diarrhea, quote, all the way through the plane. Now, when a lot of people seen the quote of all the way through the plane, we was like, what do you mean all the way through the plane? Do you mean like through the duration of the flight they had diarrhea? Like, what do you exactly mean? We found out what they meant when we saw the video. I saw the video at least, when literally through the aisle from the back of the plane to the front of the plane, it was like tight, like towels, like paper napkins on the ground because literally the person had diarrhea, an accident up and down the aisles. I could not imagine being on a plane and somebody just like almost like running down the aisle having diarrhea. Like, the pilot says a biohazard issue. That's an understatement. It's beyond a biohazard issue. Like, that's absolutely disgusting. And I hope that that person saw immediate medical attention because clearly something is going on there. You need to go get checked out. Seriously. More airline stuff, like what's going on with these airlines, WTF. Air Canada apologized to 2 passengers who were escorted off a plane after being told they had to sit in seats that someone had previously vomited in during a previous flight. Now, the people didn't want to sit in these seats because the airline said that they cleaned the seats, but they were not cleaned well to the point where the passengers seen that it's been vomit here. So you're going to escort these people off the plane because they didn't want to sit and vomit seats, and all the airline did was apologize. I'm going to need more than an apology. I'm going to need free flights for life. You're going to have to give me like an Air Canada pass, because no, that's another biohazard safety issue. And last but not least, with the WTF topics, why not end it off on a ridiculous note? Because this is right here is ridiculous. A Florida man is now facing Fed charges because he was attempting to float across the Atlantic Ocean in a human-sized hamster wheel. WT and the F. And from what I read, this is not the man's first time attempting something like this, apparently. Sir. WTF. I mean, honestly. To learn more about all of these WTF topics, make sure that you head to @HeavieTalk on Facebook, because I post links and clips to all the topics that I talk about on every episode. That wraps up this episode of Heavie Talk, Straight Talk with No Chaser. I hope that you enjoy as much as I enjoy recording it. It was a blast. Make sure that you are savoring every moment, as our quote of the day said. Make sure that you're out here being safe. I will catch you here for more Straight Talk with No Chaser. Same place, same time next week. I'm your girl, Heavie Sharnice, aka Heavie, and I'm out.